Hey there, welcome to Authentically Raw. I'm your host, Jamie Berris. Hello, Alexia Clonda, and welcome to the Authentically Raw podcast. How are you?
I'm excellent, thank you, Jamie. Absolutely awesome.
And I just love your Australian accent. I have to say that right off the bat. It's absolutely beautiful. So you are a champion squash player and so much more. I'm going to stop it at 2 titles, but I know you wear many titles. That's one. And then the second would be spiritual coach. So tell us a little bit more about yourself and what you do and who you are.
Okay. Well, I did start my pretty much 50 years of my life have been as a squash player, high performance squash coach, squash champion. But this next chapter of my life, this next rest of my life is even more exciting to me. I'm a breathing, mindset and spiritual coach. And I think that throughout my career, squash career, without knowing it, has helped me to achieve having come from a life of adversity. And what I would like to do now is share my knowledges and experiences and my expertise to help people rediscover themselves, to reconnect with their true authentic selves, that essence of them and that powerful, empowered human being, that spirit that they are.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's beautiful. Beautiful work. And my hand is raised, right? I'm in, right? So
Perfect.
We chatted a little bit before we started hitting record, and I was just like, oh my goodness, you have so much there and you have so much history of what brought you to do what you're doing now and why you're helping and getting your message out there. So let's let the listeners hear a little bit more about that. Where you I guess I will say, what you've went through to get you to where you are now and how you're using all of that.
Of course. Well, I come from a family of 9. My parents immigrated from Eastern Europe after the war, displaced persons. So I had 5 before me, 5 below me. I'm the 5th child. I was diagnosed with asthma at 10 months of age. So, and I can remember throughout my childhood, I used to take this revolting tasting medicine. I hated sport. I hated being active. And so I was pretty much struggling. And also I actually lived with my grandmother for a lot of my life since the age of 3. And early on, I thought my mother had abandoned me, like she gave me to my grandmother. And I went, okay, that's interesting. And I felt ostracized. I felt like I didn't belong anywhere. And so it was really weird. I was an asthmatic kid. I living with my grandmother. I was a little bit spoiled, but luckily to say I never grew up as a spoiled child. And I was very estranged from my mother. I knew I loved her, but she walked in the room, I walked out, and it got worse and worse as I got older, because obviously there was a lot of issues there. Mm-hmm. But so I struggled. I hated sport, but I did love one sport, cricket. I know it is in this country. It's coming a little bit more. There's talk about a league. But during recesses at school or at lunchtime, I loved bat and ball. Didn't like the running part of it, but I loved the bat and ball. And then fast forward, I had a few more adversities. I was sexually abused when I was young by a relative, so that didn't sit well with me. And at that time, I was also questioning my own sexuality. So a lot of stuff going on for like a kid, under the age of 12. I came out pretty early, actually after I'd started playing squash. And it's funny because I started playing squash out of the blue. I had no intentions of doing any kind of sport. I wanted to be a doctor when I was young. And I can even remember from a very early age, at 5, when I would go outside and I'd see people that weren't happy, had it, or crying, or didn't have a smile on their face, or were disabled, I'd be going, please God, please help those people, I know I wanted to help those people. Mm-hmm. And so I knew from a very early age that I wanted to help people. I wanted to put a smile on people's dial. I wanted to make a difference. And so at age of 12, a friend of mine said, oh, I'm playing squash. I went, what's this game, squash? What's this game? And so I went and tried it, and I got to the local club, and the manager at the club saw me, and he goes, you've got a bit of talent. If you live, breathe and eat squash, I will help you become a world champion. Well, my eyes just lit up. They lit up. I went home to tell my mum, and she went, go for it. Go for it. Why not? My mum, even though I was estranged from her, she was my greatest rock. She always said to me, anything and everything is possible. Do it. Give it a go. So I got involved, and within 4 years, I was world #1 junior woman player. And the asthma, it was manageable, taking the puffers, taking the Ventolin. I was having ups and downs. I always had a chest infection every 6 weeks. I was constantly on antibiotics, and you can imagine that didn't help my immune system. I was getting pneumonias, but that's okay. I just took it in my stride. So I won the Australian.
Can I quick ask how old you were at this age?
Oh, look, when I started playing squash, I was 13.
Okay.
And so, like, as I said, from an early age, I was always getting infections. That was just like part of my life. I was always I've always had infections, always taking some kind of medication. Okay. And the doctor saying, you've got to take more, you've got to take more, you've got to have this medication for this, miss this medication for that. So
all
again,
because of the asthma, correct?
All because of the asthma. Because of the asthma. So it was tough because, taking pills, and we now know the side effects of pills. And we'll get into that later because, there were many when I went on to the steroid treatment. So I went on, won the Australian Junior Championship at 17 years of age, only after 4 years of playing. That's a pretty quick rise. And then I wanted to go and play the British Junior because that was the biggest championship way back then. There was no world title for women, junior women, way back then. So my sponsor, who I was very fortunate to get, was Adidas. I'd always wanted to be in the 3 stripes. Like, that's any sportsman's dream from the 70s and 80s, be sponsored by Adidas. That was a big deal.
Yes.
So I got sponsored. And the marketing manager in Australia came and watched me play the final of the Australian Junior. And he said, congratulations, great. What do you want for winning? And I went, I want to go win the British Junior. He goes, here's your air ticket. Oh. That was a first. I mean, I when I look back in my squash career, in my life, I've done a lot of firsts. So I went to England by myself at 17, all alone. First time I'd been out of the country, and just before Christmas. And I'm going, oh my God, this is so exciting and scary. Got to Heathrow and it's packed. Oh God. Oh. Anyway, so I went and played the British Junior. I won it.
Wow.
And
amazing.
Went, this Australian, how dare you come and win our British Junior? So I won it. And then I went and played in a couple of senior tournaments because I always played senior tournaments when I was young. Because they touted me as Heather Mackay is a legend in squash, undefeated in her whole career, 17 years, undefeated. They touted me as the next Heather Mackay. That's a lot of pressure. She was a legend and a bit of pressure. But anyway, I won the British Junior. I went and played a couple of senior events. I won a senior event at 17. I played the British Open Senior and the World Open. I made the second round. No mean feat. That means no juniors actually have done that before. So I meant, you beauty. Then I got a really bad cyst under my arm. The asthma, oh my goodness. The cyst was the size of a golf ball. And I just, wow. So I went back home and just the asthma full on. It just like relentless. So that year of 79, my last year as a junior, I couldn't defend any of my titles. I was in and out of hospital 10 times. And the steroids that they put me on, the anti-inflammatories to help reduce the inflammation in my lungs, I put on, I will talk in pounds here because you're the Americans. I'm about 100 pounds. So I put on another 50, 60 pounds. So I rolled everywhere and had the big typical steroid moon face. 1.5 years off, thinking, am I going to live? Am I going to die? In and out of hospital. They said to me, you have to give up squash or you're going to die. And I went, hang on, I just started my squash career. I've just #1 junior in the world. Get out of here. So I made a decision, I made a very clear decision. I am never going to let this asthma beat me. Never is it going to control me. So I just, we had way back then, that was in the 80s, conventional medicine, Western medicine, and then the woo-woo stuff, the acupuncture, the hypnotherapy, the energy medicine that was just starting to open up. I tried everything and anything. Everybody thought I was very weird. I took that as a compliment. Didn't worry.
I love it. Thank
worry.
you. I have to say, because I love all the woo-woo stuff too. And, you just get to the point where I don't care if you're on with my woo-woo stuff or not. It's working for me. And leave me alone, right?
Absolutely, Jamie.
I feel a little rebellious, like, hey, this is me, and I'm sticking to it.
Absolutely. That's what I said. Who cares? It's working for me. And at the end of the day, I'm very curious, like you. I'm very curious. I go, well, why not? What if? Why not? What's the harm in trying? Like, everything to lose, nothing to gain. Hey, so be open. So I got back into squash, lost all the weight, got very, very fit. Again, just get very, very fit. And what I found, no matter what health issues I suffered, is my fitness and my attitude and that mindset, my heart resilience, my heart and mind strength. They work together. When they say mind, body, spirit, there's emotional as well. It's the heart spirit. It's our spirit. And that comes from the heart, not our brain. Mm-hmm. And that's what a lot of people forget. Our essence, our character, our persona, our energy that we are when we come into this world. And this is I think the crux of it. And as I get older and I'm learning more, and the more I learn, the more answers I'm getting from that divine intelligence, whatever. We are that essence of the essence that all that of is, the energy of creation. We are part of that. We are a creator. So I started to read the spiritual books, Louise Hay at 18, and then The Road Less Travelled, Stuart Wilde, and then Deepak Chopra. So I just got more and more and more interested, and I just went, this resonates with me. And so got back into top squash, got to number 5 in the world, represented my country at the junior and Australian level. We won the World Team Championships, semi-finals, World Open, British Open, won many titles. But the asthma was wow. I travelled with a suitcase of medication and a nebulizer. Every place I went to, I knew where the hospital was. I knew the place, where it was an airport, a bus station or train station, or, wherever. I knew where the squash club was. I knew where I was staying, and I always knew where the hospital was. Because so many times in England and in Germany, I've ended up in intensive care. One time I remember I was in intensive care, and I thought I wouldn't get home to Australia. And as I was under 25 years of age, it's pretty daunting to be in ICU in a hospital, so far away from home, not having any, family with you, thinking that I might not make home. So again, a couple of realizations that, hey, I've got to have this strength. I've got to stand on my own 2 feet. I've got to find this inner strength. And I believe that inner strength comes from that power, that energy, that life force, where we all come from and where we all go back to. And I used to think, this horrible asthma, I hate this asthma. Why me? Why me? I started to turn it around. This is helping me become stronger. This is helping me find my inner strengths. And as the years have gone by, and the more spiritual courses I've done, the more I've learned. I've learned that, and this saying is now pretty out there, life doesn't happen to you, life happens for you. So what are the lessons that we came here to learn? And with our experiences, we're creating our experiences to experience the life's experience to learn the lessons from. So everything that we have created, and that was a big one with Louise Hay, we create everything. And how can I create, being sexually assaulted? How can I create this asthma? That have, it's not my fault, or there's outside circumstances. And this is a big one because a lot of people I had a hard time really getting this. I do create everything, not on a conscious level, but on a subconscious level. It's at a subconscious level. And I didn't create this on this level. I created it before I even came here, excuse me, please, to learn lessons to help me evolve and grow as a human being. And now what I've learned is I can learn my lessons easier. I don't have to go through the tough ways, because that's also the tough ways, I think, are by our programming from when we are young, our belief system that we have in place, that we've got from our parents or our role models, or even from our ancestors, epigenetics, or past lives. So now we're going on to those many, many different levels. And we are all energy, so we're picking up stuff, we're picking up vibrations, sometimes that aren't even ours, and we can clear those. And so I've chugged along. So I come from a lot of, not chugged along really, but a lot of adversity. I've been bankrupt. I've been arrested. My former employer had me arrested. I sued the police for false arrest. Like my name, my reputation has been pulled through the mud. And I can honestly say some of the things, I really wanted to say, okay, I don't like this world anymore. I want to go home. But there's this little voice saying, no, you're not done yet.
Right.
You're not done yet. You're not done. You're not done. You're here to do things. Yeah. And with this course that I've now taken as a breathing, mindset and spiritual coach, I certainly believe my life purpose is to help people wake up as I have woken up, and to find their path, to find their place in this world, knowing that just by their pure existence, they are making a difference in this on this planet in their lifetime. Oh my goodness, it's a bit D&M.
In how you say it's waking up to the fact that we don't have to let all of that outside stuff control us. Everything that you have been through, at some point it's okay, what can I do? And before we were speaking a little bit before we hit record on the podcast, and you did have some real wake ups, and you had mentioned that you basically were addicted to your meds, your prescription drugs, and for the asthma, and you kind of had that moment of clarity. I'm not going to be controlled by this. Tell me a little bit more about that, because that was great. That moment.
Yeah, absolutely.
And how many leaders? You mentioned something with leaders that was mind blowing. So go tell that.
Okay. Through either the puffer, I think you call them puffers here.
That is it the inhaler.
Ventolin. Yeah, inhaler. Sorry, the inhaler.
Yep, inhalers
the
and
inhaler.
puffers.
Yeah. And the nebulizer, which is a machine. It's got a little, little machine, a mask, a container for the liquid, Ventolin liquid. You put that in. Since I have ingested that was actually 15 years ago when it was 60 litres. And so I reckon by now I've ingested about 70 litres of Ventolin. 70 litres I've ingested, and let alone how many antibiotics, because I can remember being on antibiotics since I was from a very early age, and we're talking big doses of antibiotics. I'm talking about antibiotics in the vein, IV wise, and injections as well, and then the steroids orally and by the IV as well. At my worst, I was on, and if there's any medical people out there, 100 milligrams of prednisolone steroid, corticosteroid, right into the vein. My average dose was 30 milligrams, which is a very high dose. The side effects: thinning of the skin, diabetes, osteoporosis, changes your electrolyte balances. The side effects are on at least a page long. I'm very lucky because I was so active with my squash and training, I didn't get osteoporosis. I'm 62 years of age now and no osteoporosis. I am still playing squash. I'm training hard. The other illnesses I've had, which I think I will mention because it puts it really in perspective. It's not just the asthma. I had my spine fused, L4, L5, S1, when I was 29 years of age. I've had fasciotomies. I've had bronchiectasis. I've had pseudomonas infections, which I've had chronic pneumonias, life-threatening pneumonias. I've had my hips replaced 4 times. My first lot of hip replacements went south. I got metal poisoning. I contracted septicemia. I was coaching in Colombia and I nearly died. I had 2 emergency surgeries. I nearly died. I've been so close to death so many times. I've had heart attacks, a 75% blockage in a major artery. And I actually had a heart attack on a squash court and I went, oh, this is interesting.
Oh my God.
And I've had... my medical history is like a medical encyclopedia. My doctors ask me, how are you still alive?
Yeah.
And I know why, because I haven't finished my life's purpose.
Yeah.
And I'm here for a reason. And when I look back, yes, I've done some silly things. Look, I've continued to play squash when I've had when I've been having a hard episode and a bit silly. But hey, if I'm going to die, I'm going to die. And I believe that when your time is up, your time is up. So I've ingested a lot of medication, PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder through employment. It was tough going through that highs and lows of depression, the anxiety, the suicidal thoughts, the what am I doing here? The hip replacements, I had my spinal fusion and my hip replacements. I had to learn to walk again, get out of bed, get out of a chair, get into a car, let alone start to play squash again. And I am a high-performance squash coach as well. I'm training for the World Masters next year. I want to win 4 Masters titles next year. The US, the British, the World, and the Australian. I've still got squash goals.
Oh my goodness.
Because
so this is in 2024, this is your goal. This is your goal for 2024.
Yep.
And you said you're 62 right now?
62.
Oh my goodness.
And I'm still as energetic as I was when I was like in my 30s. And just like I look, you can see the wrinkles, but I think you can feel the energy.
Yes.
My doctors say you're so energetic. You want to help people. One doctor I spoke to here in America. He was an emergency trauma doctor, and I gave him my CV with all the health issues, and he goes, "My God, how are you still playing squash? You should be dead."
Right.
There's no. If I didn't know you, I'd say, "Oh, when did this person pass away?" And again, I go, "I'm here for a reason." And no matter what life throws at me, when I had the heart attacks, I thought, okay, when I was when I had the septicemia in Colombia, lying in a Colombian hospital after 2 emergency surgeries going, am I going to get home? Again, something was keeping me going. And I call God, creator, universe, this essence that we are connected to, our essence is that divine essence. Something was keeping me going because I'm here for a purpose. Not just to be a good squash player, not just to be a high-performance squash coach, but to make a difference in as many people's lives as I possibly can. That, to me, is bigger than winning any squash championship, being a world champion. That is what I'm here for, not to win a world. That's great, winning a world championship. That's just for me.
That's fun. That's something to do in your spare time.
Exactly. Absolutely.
The thing I'm thinking of too when you speak is that here you're taking all of this medication to basically stay alive. You're being told you're going to die, if you keep playing squash and with your asthma and things, but yet, so is the medication the cause for like all these hip replacements that you've had to have, for the heart attacks, for all of these other ailments? I mean, I guess what's causing all of the health issues beyond the asthma?
Okay.
I think that's where things get so blurry. And
They do.
how did you all of a sudden come to be like, I'm done with all this medication
Okay.
stuff. I'm going to go more into the mind body and the breathing, and how have you used that then to, are you off of most of the medications, or how does all this work?
I am off most of my medication. I'm on two inhalers, and I take, like, I used to take those inhalers as well as the nebulizing. I was taking up to 6 inhalers. I was using 6 inhalers at my worst. So that's much more, because but I think, again, this is where the spirituality, understanding thyself. Reading Louise Hay's book, You Create Everything. So you create your disease. Disease is telling you something that's not wrong in the body. So taking it to those going behind that. There is a spiritual meaning for every illness, every injury, everything you have. And when you get to the beliefs, now we're starting really to go deep. The beliefs you have that created this illness. Yes, we've got the drugs to help manage it, but we can go behind that to actually resolve issues that are there that have created it in the first place. And that's with NLP. I studied NLP when I was 22 years of age, neuro-linguistic programming. I've been studying spirituality since I was in my 20s. How energetic this is the one that blew my mind, absolutely blew my mind. I was about 22, 23. And I was my squash wasn't just I was just being really frustrated with my squash. It wasn't going anywhere. And I was getting this, my hamstring had torn, or strained. And I went, oh God, hamstring, hang on. I can't play squash. I can't train if my hamstring's gone. So I gave it 3 weeks break from squash and training. Went back to training, was running in the gym, doing that kind of stuff. As soon as I went back to the squash court, oh, it's gone again. Oh, my goodness. Another 3 weeks off. And I was training for a big world championship, getting in the Australian team. So here I go. Oh, my goodness. It's not working. As soon as I went back to squash, and I tried this 3 times. So within the space of 3, what's that, 9 weeks, give or take, 3 months. 3 months. Anyway, so I've been studying energetic medicine for a while, and I came across this practitioner. I said, give it a go. So went in, I told her the situation, and so she got me lying down on this mattress, and there were pillows around me. She got me to close my eyes. Closing your eyes, you internalize. Okay, you can refocus inward, and you can allow yourself to relax. So I'm relaxing. She goes, okay, just imagine your hamstring. Your whole body is your hamstring. She goes, what are the feelings coming up? Oh, I feel torn. I feel conflicted. I feel like I am being ripped apart. She goes, any circumstances in your life at this particular point in time where you feel a conflict and being torn apart? Oh, yeah. My work, I was working for ProClinics, a company that sponsored me. It was the largest racket manufacturer in the world. My bosses hated squash. I was sponsored internationally. My Australian bosses hated squash. They loved tennis. They gave me a hard time when I took off time to go and play squash, etc., etc. There was this conflict. I loved working for Kenix. They were my sponsor, but I was conflicted between my love of squash and my love of working for this company came out in my hamstring for it. So we did some work, released emotions, set some new beliefs in there, right? So we identified some limiting beliefs about being told what to do, about men having, control over me. They're my bosses, and they were men. They were chauvinists. Oh, God. So we did some belief work around that, about not having control of my own life, not being able to make my decisions, having boundaries, etc., saying no. Okay, got up, went and played squash. I went, oh, no. That's it. Went and played the World Championships. I even fell on the court in one round. Got up and went, oh, it's fine. It's fine.
Incredible.
Shifted my whole perspective on energy medicine, of being empowered, of when you work with your body, when you are reading your body, when you are listening and getting the message from your body. Health, nudge, little heart attack. Bigger nudge, oh, it's stopping me from doing something. The baseball bat, full-on heart attack. These little messages, they get, if you don't heed them, they get louder and louder until, boom, you have a major health crisis. You either die or you wake up to yourself, or you get the medicine and do nothing else. So my philosophy is, my body is telling me something. What is it? What's it teaching me? What am I learning? What's the message? I need to slow down, and then I ask, what's this message? What is this message? What am I needing to learn? It's like after a loss in a squash match or any kind of game. This loss, what have I learned from this? What is this teaching me? What do I need to learn from this? So every disease, every injury, what's it telling me? What do I need? And I've got a few stories like that, and these are from injuries. And I've got a few stories. Bronchiectasis is a lung condition where your the branches of your lungs are like lose their elasticity, and it forms a pouch. And I used to get mucus building up in that, and I used to get infection. So I used to always have a low-grade infection, turned into Pseudomonas. So I was always, and Pseudomonas is one. It tastes disgustingly, it smells disgusting, and you're bringing up this revolting coloured yuck. So anyway, all the time. So I was always on medication for that. So I did some belief work on myself. What's this about? Lungs is also about grief. So I was starting to really work about the emotional stuff, the belief work. Needless to say, it does not come up on a CAT scan anymore, or an MRI. It's gone. It's incurable. It's incurable.
Wow.
It's this spiritual work, this inner work, this belief work, this heart work. Whoa. And that's what I love about mindset. Mindset isn't just the matter of fact. My mindset work is the spiritual work together on such a different level. We're working on and the breathing. It's interesting because before I came on, I did a little bit of. I'm actually doing an ebook on the importance of good breathing. It's nearly finished. I'm hoping in the next couple of weeks it'll be finished and then put out into Amazon. Yes, and I'm about to write my own book about how like helping myself and how you can help yourself. It's an inspirational, motivational book. But the word spirit comes from the Latin spiritus, meaning breath. Historically, breath has been considered in terms of the concept of the life force. So how we breathe, breathing, there's a specific way to breathe for our body's needs, right? And when I learned this breathing technique, this really hit home. I was 33 years of age. Breathing is for life. It's not 10 minutes a day. It's not an hour a day. It is for life. We have a breathing center at the stem of our brain. It's like a thermostat. We have a natural breathing rhythm at rest. And as we're active, it goes up, it increases proportionately to our body's needs. Everybody forgets that. Yeah. So we need to reset our breathing center. And by these breathing exercises I did with the potato breathing method, it switched. And also by changing your breathing, you bring up emotions. So this is, again, on such deep levels, connecting with your spirit.
Right. So how is the breath work and the mindset work connected? And I because there was two things that I wanted to ask about too, is and maybe you basically described it, because on your website, I remember seeing like the theta healing. And I was curious because I'd never heard theta. But then also the BBM.
Yes.
Explaining kind of goes, and is that, and it's not just, and I want to make sure that this is clear, it's not like this work is not just so we can go out there and play squash, right?
Yes.
Or be excellent in sport, or, it's athletics. And it is like it's mind, body, it's spirit, but it's professional. It
Yes.
is relational. It's personal, because all of this mind work, like our minds are being programmed at a very young age.
Yes.
And they're wired, like, and you touched on that, by our parents, by our caregivers, just any role model in our lives. It's being shaped and formed. I mean, our kids, how many hours do we spend from the age of 5 through 18 with our role models being teachers, coaches, all of this? It's like they have a major influence on who we are, and all of this programming. And it's more of the limbic system. And I've heard it being referred to as kind of like your lizard brain. It's your old,
Yes.
it's that old programming. And here we are, whether we're 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, or, 80 or beyond, and how much of that still just controls our thinking, our attitude, our those beliefs that we truly believe, probably mostly on a subconscious level, of who we are, what we're capable of doing, but they block us from so many things. And I think just the power of unlocking that to grow in it's really about that transformation of, here's what's going on now. And that connection that you made, I loved it how you made it more like, say, in squash, the hamstring. Every time you got out on that court, there it was again. And it was about all kinds of other stuff that's stored in your body and in your mind. But here's where it was playing out. So if we look at, okay, I always have this, this is how hurting me, you've got all this self-doubt. Like, could it be in your professional life? I'm always failing, I always get fired, or I can't to land that job, or I can't seem to land this project, or whatever it is that's holding you back. Maybe it's in your relationships, they're all failing, or it's everybody else, or it's just everybody has stuff, right? And I think it's so taking the time to reverse a little bit and stop looking out there outside of ourselves to try to fix everything. There's nothing woo-woo about going inward and being and being curious and asking yourself, what is causing me to do this? What is causing this pain? And by pain, I mean everything from physical pain, mental pain, emotional pain, the pain of just living, if you want to say that dysfunctional life, which is, and I like the dis part of it, because there's disease. There's something though that you can cure so that you can function optimally. You can function better, because I think people, dysfunction is some, scary word. We're all dysfunctional. None of us are functioning at the most, 100% top optimal, we'd love to, and a lot of us are way up there, but so many of us are not functioning well. We don't feel good. I mean, and here we are just kind of suffering with all different kinds of ailments. And it seems, I think, kind of big and overwhelming and out there to just even the words slow down and go inward. And what is it? Is it, in me that needs to be reprogrammed? What is my body? Be curious. What is this injury? What is the physical pain inside that's emotional, maybe? What is it trying to tell me? And then beyond that, okay, what am I going to do? Because that's all we can control.
You've said it so well. Exactly right. We can control ourselves. We can't control outside forces, but we can have an influence we can influence them by what we are feeling. Whatever is your external world, it's the inner world being projected outward. That's what it is. And it's recognizing that. The awareness. Like, I'll ask you a question. How do you eat an elephant?
One piece at a time, I guess, if you want.
That's exactly right. So overwhelming. Okay, we start at the start. Where we start is where we start. Okay, yeah, why am I getting fired? Why aren't I getting that job? That's great. You're asking yourself questions, because when you ask questions, you're sending it out there to the universe, God, creator, whatever you like, your subconscious. You're sending out your subconscious to find an answer. Your subconscious doesn't know fact from fiction. And remember, whatever you're being told, whatever you believe, and those beliefs, a lot of them aren't yours. They're programs from beliefs from other people. So what we can do is, the first step is awareness. This is where I'm at this particular point in time. Okay. Then we can go, how's it making you feel? We start what we call digging or chunking down. It's chunking down, what we call in NLP terms. What's behind it? What's behind it? What's behind it? We need to go back to the root cause, the root belief, the root place where it all started, where this belief, where you got it from, could be your parents. Oh, money's hard. You've got to work hard for your money. Money doesn't grow on trees. We get a lot of our money beliefs from our parents, and they're not even ours. And then we wonder why we struggle with money. My goodness. So, yeah, it's all, and it's not just at our level here, what we call in theta. Theta healing is we're going into theta brainwave to identify, to clear, and reprogram, retraining. The breathing, retraining your breathing. It's all about reprogramming, getting rid of the old programs, old software out, identify, become aware. How has it helped you? You don't have to do the same things or repeat the same issues or circumstances for you to grow. A hard way, we can now reprogram you so it's easier and you're open to receiving more of the good stuff. Yeah, it's all about that. The awareness. If you're not aware of something, you cannot change it. But once you're aware of it, you can start changing it. And the only person that we can change is you. So we're working also on an energetic level by whatever beliefs, if they're negative or positive beliefs, if they're they all have a certain vibration. And now we're going into energetic medicine. We're going into quantum physics 101. Energy, everything has a vibration. Sadness has a vibration. Happiness has a vibration. They all have vibrations. So these, if you can imagine our bodies vibrating in a certain way. So say something you want, okay, I want a beautiful house. That beautiful house is vibrating in a certain way. So if we're vibrating down here, and we've all got these limiting beliefs, how are we ever going to get that beautiful house we want, that high vibration, the happy life, the great job, the wonderful, partner, whatever? That's at a different vibration. Every possibility that exists for us is out there. We've got to tap into that energy. And by identifying, okay, how's my life now? What are all the things that are worrying me? What's all the things that are annoying me? What are all the things that are holding me back? We start to make a list. And me, as a theta healing practitioner, mindset and breathing coach, I'm going to use all the tools I have at my fingertips to get to identify your bottom beliefs, to identify what's holding you back. What are the beliefs? What are you thinking? What are you feeling? What are you saying to yourself? We're going to identify, clear, and reprogram. That's it. And we're utilizing the breathing to really get deep into that, to the energy of the cell. Mm-hmm. We're going now into the quantum, because that breathing, there's a study a couple of years ago. They were your emotions control your breathing. They got this group of participants. These researchers were saying, "What are you feeling?" They said whatever emotion, and they were observing their breathing, fast, shallow, deep, whatever. Okay, so they equated the emotion with the types of breathing rates. Okay, and then they got another group of people, and they said the word, "Be angry." You are sad. You are angry. What measured up is the breathing rate shifted. Mm. So your breathing is so key in life, in every function of our body. So we can help our breathing to quieten us down, to go inwardly, focus and reset, because science now knows that by breathing through your nose into your belly, You're switching on your parasympathetic nervous system, relaxation, response, creative and digestive response. When we are breathing through our mouth or breathing heavily into our chest, we are switching on the sympathetic nervous system, and which is our fight or flight, our stress response. When we can habitually overbreathe, mouth breathe, take it in through the mouth into the chest, we are keeping ourselves in the stress response. So we can actually relax ourselves by in 5-10 seconds, by just breathing through the nose easily and gently, breathing into your belly, sticking out your belly, and just breathe out through the nose. Mouth breathing is now called dysfunctional breathing. This is the medical term for mouth breathing. I don't breathe out through the only time I'm breathing out through my mouth is when I'm speaking. It's the only time. Otherwise, I even take my mouth when I'm training, getting my heart rate to 170 at 62, no mean feat. Recovery is quicker. Fitness rates my fitness is getting better, and I do breathing exercises whilst I'm training to help increase my fitness. So there's all these kinds of benefits to proper breathing, getting into that mindset on many different levels, the spiritual, the emotional, the mind levels. They all work hand in hand, one without the other. It's like the cake ingredient. If you miss one ingredient, it's okay, but it's not the best. So we're now bringing all of those tools into use to help that person reconnect with their own power, with their own creativity, and tapping into the source that actually is us, that higher intelligence. And when you slow down, smell the grass, smell the roses, you're actually allowing your creativity centers, your receptors to be open to receiving answers and solutions, those aha moments. So that's what we're doing.
That's why when I'm out running, I have all these creative juices flowing, and I'm like, if I could run with my computer, right?
Absolutely.
But I think you hit on one thing I kept thinking, and that was how with our breathing, you can take the subconscious stuff and turn it conscious, because we're always breathing subconsciously, right?
Yeah.
But then all of a sudden, when you're conscious of your breathing, you can slow it down. You can check, am I breathing through my mouth? Am I breathing through my nose?
Right.
And I feel like, it's just our breath. It is everything, right? I mean, even in the Bible, right?
It is.
It's like, and then he breathed breath into us or whatever,
That's exactly right.
Like, the breath is the life.
That's right. Exactly.
And it's tapping into all that other, like, consciously tapping into the wiring of the brain that is subconscious.
That's right, which is autopilot.
Bring it into the conscious mind.
That's right.
And then you can, like you said, well, first it's that awareness, but then, in second, clear it out. But I even want just that word clear reminds me of clarity.
That's right.
Oh, this clarity. This is where, that programming is coming from. And this is where it's hurting me in my life. So if I can clear that out.
Exactly. Decluttering.
Reprogram. But you can't do that until you bring the subconscious into the conscious.
Exactly. And that's what when you know how to work with your subconscious, when you know how to work with it, that's the beauty. That's the real awakening. Okay. Working with it. What's it telling me? Because it's sending you messages. So what's it telling me? You increasing your intuitiveness, listening to your intuition, because that will never steer you wrong, your intuition. Never. That is divine source, I believe. And so very important. It's funny talking about the Bible. When the Bible talks about filling our lungs with breath, or that every breath that gives us life, it's departing and returning to God. God, to me, is not religion. It is essence. It is divine intelligence, that all-knowing, which is all good, which is the highest vibration. Love.
Mhm.
And when we make decisions and our awareness comes from love, we are capable of miracles. We can move mountains. We can go through mountains because we are a miracle. We, being us here on this planet, is a miracle. That's the first miracle, I believe.
Yes. Oh, truly. And, just with the breath, it's the one thing that I really do believe it gets us to slow down, be in the present.
Yes.
And there's just something about once you're finally aware of, oh my, like take this deep breath in, it's so calming. But I feel like, it's true. We live in this world though, that pulls us away from that. And it's discipline. It truly is discipline just to come back to it. So
absolutely.
I ask, breath work, and maybe there's not a starting point, but would breath work be a starting point for kind of like this rewiring of our mind too?
It would be, because what the first thing I do in a session is I say, and I do meditations for my clients. I do custom-made meditations. But what the first thing I do is just close your eyes and become aware and focus on your breathing. Breathing in through your nose, into your belly. Breathing out through your nose. Straight away, you're switching on your parasympathetic. Straight away, you are calming down. By closing your eyes, you are telling your body, your cells, your energy, your subconscious, slow down. It's okay. You are safe. Your subconscious, 2 roles: keep you alive, because the subconscious never sleeps, and to keep us safe.
Yes.
So
And I want to say one thing right here, just for listeners to understand too, because as you're speaking, I love this. It's the perfect opportunity, because some of these words can get a little confusing if you're not familiar with them. So that parasympathetic system, like I always think of that. I keep with the P's. It keeps me present and it keeps me peaceful.
Yes.
Because the sympathetic is, and that's the state that we should be living at.
Yes.
All the time, until or unless there is a great time to be in the sympathetic. And that is, like you said, the fight, flight, or freeze. But that is only for when we need to fight, flight, freeze something because there's danger. But most of us live in that state all the time now. In a day and age when we have absolutely no reason to, because we are not being chased by bears anymore. We are not. And that's the thing. But we are society. We have created this. We have created this. It's whether it's just being over busy, over committed. We have to do more, be more. The go big or go home statement. I mean, it's kind of funny to laugh about, but what is it doing to us internally?
It is internally.
I'd rather just be at home.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, this be big. And yes, absolutely. We all should have that drive and that ambition.
And it's great to have that.
We are passionate about, and we should go after it with gusto, but it's not at the expense of our own mental, emotional, physical health. It is to be generous. It is like for the work that you're doing. It's not that life happened to me, it happened for me. So here's what I'm doing with it. I'm teaching other people how to rewire their brain that are suffering, whether it's from chronic illness, whether it's from an asthma or just anxiety, whether it is, a job loss, a death, abuse, whether it's sexual, physical, mental, anything.
You said it, and you've hit it on the nail. And it's right. To me, stress is the number one disease. And you're right. We're not being chased by saber-toothed tigers anymore. We're not the caveman.
So why are we living in that?
We've got a primitive brain. So our stresses, exams, got to make more money. Oh my God, my job security, life. I've got to always be on the go. If I'm relaxing, I'm feeling guilty because I'm lazy and I'm not being productive. We have conjured up all this rubbish You know, like we've forgotten. We are supposed to be in that, or I believe it's our normal state to be happy, to be good, to be feeling content and peaceful. But these stresses, these modern day stresses, are keeping us in a sympathetic state. It's killing us. Stress is going to my heart attacks. My doctor said it was all stress related from what I was going through. Stress. And
that
I
was
went,
at what age? What ages were you when you had your heart attacks?
2016.
See, and the thing about that is we are, and I can't remember the statistics, but we are now, our life expectancy is declining as medicine is advancing.
Exactly.
And it is because of that. It's because our biological age and our chronological age, like, I mean, there's people going in, if they get tested, they're in their 30s.
Yes.
Biological age. But their chronological age is like in their 70s because of the chronic stress, the chronic anxiety, the panic attacks, and it's like, this is stuff that we don't have to go see a doctor for, that we can do at home with breath work, with all of this. And it's just a lifestyle. And I relate, because I will say, you don't hear it as much now, but I can remember I'm a type A person, thing, years ago. And I can almost remember using that as like a badge of honor. That means I'm hardworking, I'm ambitious, I have drive, I have, it's like, but then the more you tell that to yourself, and those are all great things, but when it's done to extreme, you are harming yourself, you're hurting yourself, you're not helping yourself. And I still, to this day, at a whopping 48 years old, and for years now, I have gotten rid of that label. I have started to do more practices to relax and restore and be present and check out of the crazy busy world, because I don't think it's a badge of honor. I think it's more like you're trying to earn whatever it is you're trying to earn. And I don't want to be a part of it anymore, because it's killing me. Alexia, I still have a hard time sitting down and relaxing. I mean, I do, and I will.
Okay.
So I think
it changes things,
because I hear that from so many people. If you have a hard time, and that's the little nugget I want to focus on right now, for all the listeners, they have a hard time sitting down and relaxing because they feel lazy, they feel whatever. I will say, and this isn't about blaming anyone. It isn't about blaming, everybody in your childhood, your caregivers, parents, your aunts, uncles, your sisters, brothers, who are. This isn't that. It is being aware of, this is where this program has come from, that if I sit down and I'm not producing, I love the question to ask myself, who am I if I'm not producing? Who am I if I'm not being productive? Well, number one, you're being really productive by just sitting there and breathing, because you're restoring and you're actually doing a lot of health benefits for yourself. You're giving yourself life. But for people that have a really hard time doing that, and I don't want to be extreme and say it's a life or death thing, but in essence, it kind of is. And I tell myself this because it's a quality life or death thing for me. What kind of quality of life do I want to have? Do I want to keep running around, acting like some frantically, frazzled, busy freak? Because I look up to myself that way, because that's what I put myself in. I don't think that's being critical. It's that kind of joking with yourself, like you're acting like a freak. Calm down, right? But getting back to that parasympathetic, where you're feeling present and peaceful, because I think we all really strive to be that way, and we don't know how. Like, I don't know how to relax. I don't know how. I hear that all the time. Okay. So if I were to come to you and say, Alexia, I can't do this. Number one, I know there's programming there that needs to happen. Okay. That's the awareness. But number two is, I have an ask method. It's the awareness. To sum it up, A is awareness, S is solutions, and then K was like an empowered knowledge. So like, say the A is the awareness. Okay, this is where it comes from, whether it's society right now, whatever. I feel lazy. Number two is a solution. Okay, one little solution out of a million could be some breath work. And then my empowered knowledge is, oh, when I'm feeling like this, over functioning person and I'm frazzled, and then I sit down and I try to relax, I'm having a hard time. I can do this breath work and it seems to be working a little bit. There's my empowered knowledge. I do have control over my life. I do have some control over my breathing. I see now what I pulled from subconscious into conscious. Like, I know I'm throwing tons of stuff out there and I'm going on. I am what I do.
It's great because whilst you're doing this, I'm giving your beliefs. You're actually telling me your beliefs. So
So there's that with how to relax. And number 2, and I think because my family's heard a lot about it, and maybe we need to stay on for a session after this call, and I just might do that with you because I too I'm a writer. I've published 2 women's fiction books, and now I'm writing some nonfiction. And I'm going to tell you, Alexia, I'm having a hell of a time because I can go on and talk like this and carry on conversations, and I love it. And I will even go back and listen to my podcasts. I'm like, I just need to put it so it makes sense in a book. And then I need to put it out there.
Yeah, great.
And I just keep writing and I rewrite and I rewrite and I rewrite and I write. And I write. Or I sit there in front of the screen and I'm blocked. And I know the thing is I'm almost so too knowledgeable. I know what's going on. I have these limited beliefs. I have all this stuff. I have tools. I'm doing it. And people still get stuck.
Absolutely. And this is just it. We do, and then we start to go, the conscious mind, we start to overanalyze, and it's the loop. It's
I'm raising my hand. Yeah,
exactly. And the breath will break because that's the parasympathetic. Sympathetic, the breathing is the key feedback loop for the nervous system. So again, that's why it's so important. But what I would do, because I'm hearing some beliefs coming out, some of these aren't even your beliefs. Some of these are societal beliefs. Yep. So what I would do is, if we're having a session, okay, with all of that said, I'm going to take you back to some feelings. When was the first time? When was the first time? Who are these? Is this your belief or is it somebody else's? We're going to take you back. Wherever we go, wherever you go to is wherever you go to really pinpoint where these beliefs started. Because when you go to the bottom belief, all those subsequent beliefs that are permutations of that first belief, they just go by the wayside. They go by the wayside. And so then we can reprogram. How would you like your life to be? What would the beliefs you would be helpful for you, would be empowering for you, which would be growth for you, which would be the best for your evolving growing as a human being. So that's how I take you through a session. Because
Alexia, I have to, and I don't mean to just like interrupt, but this is one thing I think so many people, we don't take the time to stop and even do that. Like, and that almost seems lazy too. Like, I don't have time to sit down and figure out, this is, like, it's just, I've been writing a list of, and I like to call it like a dream list. Some people might call it a bucket list or a vision list, like whatever it is. But it's just a one line, what do I want? What do I dream of? And it could simply be to feel it. A lot of it for me, I'm a feeler, feel fulfilled, to feel, energized. That could be one thing. I want to have deeper connections in my relationships. What do I really want my days to look like? I mean, so many people just stop goals. I want to make so much money over the next 3 years. I want to, it's like, and I think a lot, and those aren't bad goals, but so many times it hurts us because we don't stop and pause and ask ourselves, well, why do I want, say, X amount of money? Why do I want X amount of friends? Why do I want my house to look like this? Why do I want to live there? It's, what's it going to feel like to do that? I mean, I think of just the little things I have, and maybe people can identify with this. I have spaces. Like there's something about spaces. Like there's a place where I like to have my morning coffee, and it's usually on my front porch, because the sun is rising. I like to be in nature. It's those little things though, and really asking myself, well, why is it right there? Why do I feel drawn there? But stopping and listening, because I could just plop, grab my cup of coffee and quick get ready and, and do all these things. And why? What is it about that? what is drawing me here? And it's that intuition.
That's it. You've got so many nuggets there. We don't slow. Society thinks if we're not doing something, we are not busy. That's a myth. Again, one of these myths, and it's perpetuated, become a truth. So it is about, no, I'm taking back control, because at the moment, these outside forces, you're being governed by them. So, okay. And you said, why is it important for me? Why is it important for me to have lots of money? Because that's not the real, that's an outcome. But there's so many things before that. It helps you feel good. You can do more benefit for your family, for your friend, whatever. What's behind it? What's behind it? In the fitness industry, a couple of years ago now, less is more. Less is more. So, I think slow, fast. Let's slow down. Because when you slow down, you are giving the opportunity for answers to come in. If you are continually busy, and this conscious mind continually wants us to keep busy because it's being caught up in the outside world or the group consciousnesses of things, we are not able to receive through our intuition what are the next steps for us to take. What can we do? What do we need to do to help us grow? We're actually blocking it out by this. By society as is today, we're blocking out. And also, a lot of people don't want to do the work. It's not hard work. Could be 5 minutes a day. Could be 10 minutes a day. Again, eating an elephant, just one piece at a time. Doesn't have to be all at once. Like a kid comes to me, I want to be world champion. Fine. It's not going to happen in a week. Okay? It's okay.
And it's more about a lifestyle. It's just being aware, say, of your breath throughout the day, or say you're in a meeting or you're having a conversation with someone that's getting heated. Notice that, oh my gosh, my heart is going like this. I'm breathing, whatever. I'm holding my breath, or whatever you're doing. And then in the moment, while you're still having the conversation, slowing yourself down. Or I love that you brought up just even two things: finances and fitness, we'll say, because that just made me remember what you were saying. And that was, it's not a bad thing. Like money, there's so much stigma around it. Money is a tool. I mean, if you didn't have money, you couldn't buy food.
Money is a tool. It's a resource.
Right. And we get so fixated on it. Like if I have this certain amount, then my life is going to be wonderful. Then you get that certain amount and you need more. Or if you have more, then you're, either held on this pedestal, or you could be considered as greedy and evil. But if you have way less, then you're lazy. You're called names for that. But yet we all have this, okay, you got to be right in the middle somewhere. And that standard is all over the board. It's like just a simple question of, we all need money, because I like to eat. I like clothes on. I like a house to live in. I like to do entertaining. I love to travel and do things. You kind of need money to just do things in life, right? To stay alive. And it's like, but why? Asking yourself, if I'm just constantly striving for something, what am I going to do with this? Because behind what you're going to do with it uncovers your essence of who you are, what you want to be. And who takes the time to really do that? You look at somebody else and just be like, oh, they seem happy. I'm going to compare myself with the Joneses, how everybody does. So I got to do like them. Or you might look at them, well, they seem miserable, so don't do that. It's just, but what do we want? And
it boils down to, it's clarity of what you desire. And I don't use the word want a lot. It's what you desire. What kind of person do you want to be? It's again going back to your inner self, your essence. What kind of person am I? And inherently we're all good, and there's some layers there that are crap and whatnot. But what makes me happy? What floats my boat? What is me being content and fulfilled? Coming back to asking yourself questions. And that's where a starting point. What do I really want? Why am I really here? It's asking those questions. And remember, when you ask yourself those questions, your subconscious is listening. It's putting that out into the energy of that divine intelligence, that infinite intelligence. When you're still, you're going to receive answers.
Mm-hmm.
That's your next step. When you receive those answers, this is my next step then. So it's in that stillness, in that present moment, we are creative.
Yeah.
We are starting to know. We get the knowing, that knowing within us that sends us in a certain way. That's why stillness and slowing down and smelling the roses is vital. We, in the 21st century, we have forgotten how to do that. And as you said, it is hurting us, it is harming us, it is causing more disease, it is causing more disharmony in life, and it is causing more discontentment.
Wow.
We have forgotten that we are the first point of call in everything that happens in our life. And when we take back control and empower ourselves, no one has power over me. I take back control, I make my decisions, and the decisions I make, whatever, and even if you make a not such an appropriate decision, you can change your mind.
Yeah.
I think that awareness, that self-awareness, I am a creator. Negative or positive, I can create whatever I wish, whatever I desire. And it's tapping into that knowledge to know how to work with the beliefs, the sayings, the thoughts, the breathing, the spirituality, the subconscious mind. I know what to do. I say that every day when I have an issue. I know the answer to this. I know the answer. I do know the answer, because you know what I'm doing? I'm opening up my receptors to receiving an answer. Instead of going, I do know this answer. Straight away, my physiology changes. I do know the end. I really do. And what happens, it starts to surface. It starts to come from the unseen, and it starts to open up me to, got it, I know the answer. Yeah, I know which next step to take. We need the time out. The time out without the guilt, without the feeling lazy. And again, they're only labels that belief, it's a belief. It's only a belief. Beliefs can be changed. It's only a belief. Every belief can be changed. We get rid of as I said, the old programming. We're programmed, and we've forgotten just how programmed we are. It's just remembering that and not beating yourself up. Oh, I should be further along. I have to compare myself. No, stop that. Stop. I don't compare myself to anyone. I am me. They've got their uniqueness. I've got mine. I am me. The road less traveled. I'm creating my own path. I can learn from others. Not an issue. I can learn. What are they doing that I want to take on, copy, but make it my own? Tony Robbins, easy. NLP, easy. We can do it. These are all parts of it. It's like we're like a puzzle. We have many parts. We have many pieces. When we start to be aware and be mindful and appreciate that we are all powerful, and not powerful to hurt someone, but powerful to be our own good, to send that good out into the world, then recognize your own power. Don't be scared of it. And there's other reasons why people...
Empowering.
Empowering.
I like empowering. You're empowering. Yep,
exactly.
Definitely. Empowering. Because it's not about having power over people. It's empowerment from within. And when you do that, you're empowering other people. But I like how, you were saying like time out. It's that made me think of, sometimes we have to just tap out of the outside world to tap into ourselves, tap into our own intuition, because I'm with you there. I think we all do have have the answers inside of us, but we don't give ourselves time to even sit with ourselves and have some quiet time or get silent, or just to tap into that stuff. And we feel guilty or lazy for it. And it's just the opposite. It's tough to do. It's really tough to do. So we could go on.
Just that alone.
This conversation has been
Jamie, I'm going to stop you right there.
Yes.
Yeah, it's tough to do.
It is.
No. That's a belief.
No.
Saying it's getting easier. So again, what you're saying to yourself, if you rephrase that straight away, oh, it's tough. No. Who said that? No, it's tough, or it has been till now. I can change this. it's getting easier. Because again, you're straight away you're saying to your subconscious, no, that's an old belief. No, I'm switching this now. It can get easier. It can. You're now having a window of opportunity to shift straight away. If I catch myself going, oh my goodness, this is no. Okay, that's all right. This is okay. It's challenging, not an issue. Okay, yeah. No, it's. And you know, when I'm on the treadmill going getting my heart rate to 180, I'm going, this just gets easier and easier. Oh no, this is cool. I can do this. Yeah, I'm doing it. Yay.
Yes.
So straight away, catching the thoughts and what you're saying, straight away catch it. Because otherwise you go, and what happens, a big one, you've got the collective consciousness. So your thought goes out into the collective consciousness and makes that bigger. So it makes it like a truth. It's not, it's a myth. So straight away, you can catch your thoughts that you are catching, and remembering we're having 60 to 80,000 thoughts per day. 85% of them are repetitive, 80% are negative. So that's a big lot of repetition and negativity. Our mind is geared for bias, for a negative bias. We can, by our awareness, no, I'm not going down that path anymore. No. It is I'm not there. Carol DeWick, mindset, growth mindset, fixed mindset. I'm not there yet. Yeah. Again, you're opening your subconscious and your conscious to go, it's possible. Not just yet, but it's like a no. A no's a no now. It's not a no forever. So you're opening up to the possibility of. We are wanting to open up to the possibility of. And then, you know what? Our imagination starts going. The possibility of, I could be better. Yeah, I could be a multimillionaire. What would that feel like? What would that taste like? What would that look like? What you were saying because remember, when you're at a certain level of income, your subconscious, you are used to that. And the lottery winners, you know why a lot of lottery winners go bankrupt? Because they don't know, they've never had a large amount of money, they've not been trained to have. So their mentality, their mindset is at a certain income. They haven't opened up their mind to a different level of income. This is all beliefs. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Definitely.
Oh, you're spot on.
Most definitely.
I'd love to do a session with you.
I know we need to. And I just and as we're speaking, it's one of those things where, back to the beginning, life doesn't happen to you. It's happening for you. And just even with this podcast, as I have conversations with people, I am just in awe of, we talked about just the wisdom, looking at other people and seeing, I love to do that. I love kind of studying people in that way of, even when I was going through my coaching training, when we had to write down like people that we admire and what is it in them that you admire. And if you really look, there's really not a person on this earth that I can't find something that, that I admire something in everyone. And it's just honing in on that one thing and being curious. Well, what is it telling me about me? And then, I must desire that, to use your word, which I love. And what do they do? And how can I get that? Maybe they can be an example to me, a mentor or something. It's not, and I think that is it helps us be more in tune with who we are. And just with this whole podcast, I just feel the conversations that I get to have with people. I like deep, meaningful conversations. I cannot stand just the chit chatter of like, no, you know what I mean? Like that. It's like useless conversation or useless talking. I always say, that is draining to me, which is so funny because I can have these long conversations with people like this, and it truly fills me up.
Exactly. It's feeding you. You're curious. You have a thirst for knowledge, for this. What else? That is a beautiful quality. Einstein, be curious.
Right? Be curious. And I think though it just opens up, like you talked on like the growth mindset instead of a fixed mindset. I'm never going to stop growing, whether it's, I mean, in whichever way, whether it's intellectually or spiritually or just, I mean, in any way. There's so much out there in this world, and it is us that limits ourselves from that, whether it is like through finances, it could be through, your fitness, your relationships, whatever area is in your life, we are the ones that limit ourselves. I mean, this world everything's in abundance. And again, I even kind of laugh because my husband and I talk about that a lot too with, it's like the people that win the lottery, why so many of them go broke. Well, it's the mindset behind it all.
Exactly.
It's a lack mindset.
That's exactly right. Scarcity, lack, exactly. They haven't risen their when you talk about it vibrationally, their vibration is at this certain amount of money. It is. Right. And when because we are vibrational beings. We are. And what with negativity, like you say, I feel down. So we want to lift it straight away. You can shift your vibration is standing standing tall, placing your shoulders back, your head tilted ever so slightly back. You're going to straight away uplift your energy. Straight away. Breathe through your nose into your belly. That's going to uplift you straight away. Just that little shift. But you're right. We are limiting ourselves. I say to people, who do you spend most of your time with your whole life? Who?
Yourself.
Exactly. Are you your own best friend? Or are you your own worst enemy? You decide who you want to flick.
Yeah.
Okay.
Me, myself, and I. You cannot get away from her.
Absolutely.
Right? And you better like her.
Exactly. And the only person that you have to be really true to is you. Because when you are truthful, warts and all, I was a stubborn person. I did things, I did something, we all have.
We all have it. You look back and, we're not there anymore. We're not there anymore.
I have been stubborn. Yeah. What did that teach me? Do I need to be stubborn anymore? I can do it a different way. So just be totally honest with you. Yeah, I was a dipstick. Yeah. Just be totally honest. You're aware. Move on.
Right. I was, and now I'm not anymore. It's growth. It's just... Yeah,
exactly.
And and I read something the other day, and it just basically kind of said, when you can tell how you feel about yourself, because people that do not have much self-love, when you look back and number one, you can't admit those things you said, I was a dipstick or whatever, I was stubborn or whatever, you can't admit it. Or if someone tells you can be stubborn or you're acting like a dipstick or whatever, you get upset with them.
Yes. Yep.
That is actually a sign that you have very little self-love. And to me, it's a good reminder, because when you love yourself, you're able to forgive yourself. I either am acting like a dipstick or I used to all the time. And now, I don't want to be that way anymore because it's not helping me in life. It's hurting me and it's not helping my relationships. And,
that's right.
And if you have little self-love, then you've got that wall up. You can't admit yourself. And when people point it out, you want to argue or, I know you are, but what am I? I'm on the playground when you're 4. But, and I thought, gosh, what a good little nugget to keep in mind when someone points something out to you or you have that awareness. It's just that, it's a loving awareness.
Exactly. And that loving awareness, it's like a lot of people will take that as criticism, feedback, constructive criticism. I look at it now, it's an opportunity to grow and learn something about myself, something that I can change to make me a better person, to put a better energy out there. So every bit of feedback, and I look at it, feedback, thanks for the feedback. It's an opportunity for me to grow, because basically, as my philosophy believes, theta healing philosophy is that we are a spirit in coming into physical form in a human body to have the physical experiences, but to evolve, to evolve more. Spirits are forever evolving. Our spirit, our essence, evolving. I want to grow and expand and evolve until I take my last breath. But my physical body dies. It goes. We outlast it. But my spiritual essence keeps on going and keeps on growing.
Yes.
And I look at death so differently now too, with what I've learned, with what my own experiences, with caring for my mum who had terminal cancer and I watched her die. We had conversations about death, what we've learned, being at peace with yourself, how I want to do in this world, how I want my energy to go out into this world. I have full control. And even if I'm having a bad day, I'll recognize and go, okay, not such a good day. I'm still alive. Yay, I'm still alive. I'm breathing. That's a great thing. I can still be productive because I can smile. Even if I'm not feeling great in myself, I'm going to smile. I'm going to smile to as many people as possible. It hopefully will uplift them, and it's uplifting me at the same time.
Yeah.
Hey, I've shifted my energy straight away.
Yeah. Couple things even there I think of as, and I will say this to myself, sometimes just today just needs to be over. And I'm good with that. Like I will just recognize those days, and sometimes it's at 11 a.m. Sometimes it's, in the evening or whatever. And I just tell myself, you know what? This day just needs to be over. And there's nothing wrong with that. I just need to go. I need to go to bed. I am, and sometimes I will just verbalize it to my family now. Hey, you know what? Yeah. I'm just grouchy. I'm ornery and, I'm sorry. It's almost just like, you know what? Just, it needs to be over. And then, I lost my train of thought because there was one other thing that you touched on that I wanted to comment. Oh, it was right there. I hate it when I do that. I don't know. Maybe it'll come back. I don't know. My brain's going
100 miles an hour.
But I think, just it's being, I know what it was. It was the constructive criticism or criticism in general. I do want to say one thing on that, because it's not every person that wants to say, oh, you're stubborn or a dipstick or whatever. I just like that we're using those two things, that you automatically don't love yourself if you don't agree with it in the moment, because there are just critical people, or we all criticize each other, and sometimes people are just being critical or harsh, and it's really not doing you any good, because no, you're not always the way, or maybe you stood up to them in something and they're calling you stubborn as their own protective mechanism because they feel threatened. So there are times, I think, but it all goes back to that awareness. Is it mine?
Exactly.
Or is it yours? And it's mine if and it's quieting yourself. And I think, again, going back to the intuition and inner wisdom, and really looking at things. Can I be a dipstick? Absolutely. Every person on the face of the earth can be. Am I being right now? Or if they're trying to point out that to me, do I really do that all the time? Or am I doing it in this moment? Or are they just being critical because of what but it does sometimes figure out what's going on.
Exactly. And that's having discernment, because there are a lot of people that will put on projections to you, their projections onto you. And there are a lot of people that, again, we can go two roles. I'm the optimist or the pessimist. And there are people that are always going to criticize. And no matter what you say, they're going to criticize. That's their stuff. And I go, and, opinions, they're like, I won't say it, but everyone has an opinion. Everyone is entitled to an opinion. It's none of my business, anyone's opinion of me. That opinion, do I have to take their opinion on board? No, I have choice. So again, having that discernment, and people have called me some horrible names, and I've gone, well, that's your opinion, that's fine, you're entitled to it. Don't agree, move away. That's fine. I don't wish them harm. I just go, well, okay, not an issue. We'll agree to disagree, and let's move on.
Yeah. And it's asking yourself a simple question as, is this helping me or harming me?
Exactly. That's the beauty. The question, is this helping or harming me? Is there any truth in this? Is this going to help me? Is this for my highest best? Again, the questions we ask, the quality of questions. I ask my clients open-ended questions because, again, I'm wanting them to receive the answers. I ask questions so my clients can receive the answers, not me telling them the answer.
Mm-hmm.
Ask
Yeah,
yourself
and asking
questions.
yourself questions like that is just, to me, it's ownership. It's accountability. It's being mature. It's a very immature person if you can't really stop and look at yourself.
Exactly.
And ask and be honest with yourself. You know, and I mean, it kind of even goes back to it. Sometimes I have to laugh because I'm like, you know, I came up with Authentically Raw, and where that title came up with, I feel like now it's being solidified as each episode goes out, because I think about it. Am I being authentic in these conversations? Am I putting things out there that are, you know, a little bit raw and real, or for better terms, a little bit vulnerable? And I can tell, as you know, as I grow, I do become more authentic. And I think it's a lot of people don't even ask themselves that question, because it's easy to live in a world where sometimes it's easier to be inauthentic.
Absolutely.
But once you really start to be authentic is when your life does truly open up.
It does. Jamie, I couldn't agree. It does. And this is it. There's no BS. There's all the veils are coming off. The veils are coming off, because also those veils or those masks there, because it's a form of protection. Okay. And that's okay too.
Against the opinions that you were talking about. Like, their opinion really isn't any of your business. Is it okay to consider their opinion? Absolutely. But then your authentic self will speak to you if you quiet yourself and listen to it. Your truth is in you.
Exactly.
And sometimes we just want to ignore it and hide from it because the truth hurts, even to ourselves, or we don't.
Sometimes it does. And that hurt is, again, put aside the ego. You know, obviously I'm a squash player, win or loser. And what I'd say now is, when I've gotten upset with someone, if I says to me, it's like, is this my ego? Or is this my pride? Or what's in it? What's behind this? I'll ask myself the question, because if ego's not your amigo, it's going to harm you. Pretty simple. So again, those kinds of honest questions will help you to grow, to be your authentic self, to be who the wonderful person you really are inside. And sometimes, just sometimes, we are so scared of our own wonderfulness. It terrifies us. Sometimes it does. And that's okay too. But learn to be comfortable with yourself. Learn to be uncomfortable, getting out of your comfort zone to expand your comfort zone. So this is your natural state of being. Even uncomfortable or comfortable, I'm just growing, and I'm just here learning and experiencing, and everything is okay.
Right.
It's all part of the journey.
Yeah. And like, that's what life is. It's a journey. So you might as well enjoy it, right? There's nowhere, there's nowhere, like even in the Bible, for instance, there's nowhere in the Bible that says you should go through life suffering. I mean, there are things that are going to cause us some suffering, but there's nowhere in the Bible that says that you need to suffer every day of your life. It's just the opposite. If you can sum it up, and I've been asked, I mean, I'm a Christian, and everybody has their different beliefs, and
that's fine.
Everybody's different beliefs. But I will say, if I have been questioned about Christianity, I will say, well, I will sum up the Bible in one word, and it's love.
Totally.
Bottom line. If you don't believe, that is fine. But if I believe, that is probably my number one word. I could go on to a few other ones. Probably forgiveness would be the second word that pops up. But it's love. And I think that, because people will criticize all different religions or beliefs or whatever. And whatever. It's, I don't know.
It happens. And that's okay.
Like, I don't care about that. And anybody that wants to criticize like my Christianity beliefs, that's fine. I don't care, because for me, in my mind, the one thing that keeps me grounded in my faith is, why wouldn't I personally, Jamie, want to invite more love into my life? Why wouldn't I want to love myself more? My life is better the more love that I have. And if this right here keeps me grounded in that, that's just my choice.
That's
So
it.
anyone else's opinions or criticisms or their views or beliefs, I remind myself that with them as well. Like if that is what keeps them grounded in love and feeling good, then that's their thing. And
That's
if it's
exactly
not their
right.
thing, it's not, it's just that we all need these little internal checks. Whatever works.
We do. We do.
You know?
We do. And that's it. Am I doing okay today? You know, did I go overboard in that conversation? It is. It's just keeping a moral compass, an ethical compass, a spiritual compass. You know, and you're right. There, to me, the Bible, God created, whatever you like to call it, love. That is the highest vibration. Love, unconditional love, where it's unconditional. God is not to me, if anybody says I'm a God-fearing person, I go, that's not what God.
You fear love? Yeah,
exactly. No,
that's not.
No, you missed the point here.
That breaks my heart when people have that fear, and when they talk about, because the Bible does talk about fear of God, but that's not what he means. It's that like it's an awe.
That's right, and that's right, exactly. And I'll go one step further, and some people might not be able to palate this, but I am not God, but I am a spark of God. I am a spark. I am that essence. That's why I say we are all creators, negative or positive, good or bad, however you want to call it. I'm creating every day my experiences. So taking it to I can create whatever I want. I am an essence of that energy of creation, all that is, whatever you like to call it. I am all powerful. I am empowered to do.
Right.
And I have a moral compass. I have a spiritual compass. I want to do good. That is where, because I believe, in essence, love is all good. So if we come from that love, we are good. Yes, we pick up behaviours, crappy behaviours. Yeah, that's so good. But
right.
And you're right. And forgiveness and gratitude, two most powerful virtues, because they can move mountains in themselves and shift energy to create miracles.
Yes.
I've experienced both, which is really cool. And that's the beauty when you open yourself up to this, just being you, that wonderful, unique essence within this body, then the world lights up. You light up the world. The world lights up you.
So true.
Oh, this is D&M.
Alexia, this has been a fabulous conversation. You know what I'm super grateful and appreciative for is we have 2 episodes. Yes, we're going to split this up into 2 episodes. And, we need to do this again sometime because this has been
anytime.
Amazing. So
this has been awesome.
So much.
I've learned so much.
So I hope listeners have gotten as much out of this as I have. And, it was funny because I was talking to a friend and, I've got to be honest. I do this just as much for me as obviously for everybody else. I'm like you, I'm a helper. I like to just, whatever sort of thing. But, I'm going to gravitate towards what interests me. And
of course,
the things that I have learned just today alone, it's great. I love it. So thank you so much. So,
pleasure.
In closing, where can people find you and what exactly do you do? Do you work on one-on-one with people?
I work one-on-one
packages.
I do one-on-one packages. I work in corporate, so I give corporate talks, public speaking, workshops. I talk about mindset in schools. I do all sorts of things, and high-performance squash coach as well. But I'm actually going more and more into this. I would love to go into the corporate world more. I would love to go into schools more. I would like to help as many people as I can. Even with asthma groups, people that have had injuries, hip replacements. I want to help people just realise that they're not alone. I'm here for them. And in any capacity, that's how I am.
Awesome.
And you're right, and it hits so many levels, all walks of life. If you want to be a better CEO, if you want to get hired for that job, I've helped kids get better study results, get better exam results. Right. You name it, so it's pretty endless. And obviously asthmatics, that's where I started this journey because of my own asthma. And one of the biggest things that really motivates me is I don't want anyone to go through what I went through, whether it be that adverse, any kind of adversity. Yes, we all have our own journeys, but to give people the tools and resources and support to know that they can help themselves in any situation in their life.
Definitely. And I think just this is like probably just my mind working way over time, but it reminds me of all of the medicine, that you were taking was keeping you alive, but slowly killing you inside. And I feel just that whole connection to so many of the ways that we live life right now. We're doing, it's like we're staying alive, we're doing so many things to stay alive, but is kind of slowly killing that essence or who we are inside. That's
absolutely.
Everyone should live like that and provide these tools so that we can thrive and grow, which I love.
Exactly. And it's like we're numbing ourselves. And we don't want to even recognize when we're doing that. And that's a shame, because we're here to live. We're put on this earth to live and to enjoy and to experience life to the fullest.
Agree. Well, thank you for being so generous with yourself to do that, put yourself out in the world. So people can just head over to your website. I'll put that in the show notes.
Please.
Put everything in there and how to get in touch.
That'd be easy to get in touch with me. Not an issue. And look forward to speaking with you further. And wish all of your listeners only the best. Breathe. Take it in. Take in life. And if you breathe well, properly for your body's needs, you allow yourself to take in life.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Alexia.
Pleasure. Thanks, Jamie. Have a good one.
Thank you so much for listening to Authentically Raw. I'd love to hear from you. Shoot me an email, jamie@jamieberris.com, and let me know what episodes resonate with you and why. Are you a people pleaser? If so, I need your help. Please. I'm writing a book about people pleasing titled The People Pleaser's Guide to Pissing People Off, to improve your relationships, especially the one you have with yourself. And I'm looking for personal stories of how people-pleasing has impacted your life, or sucked the life out of you. Maybe people-pleasing has held you back, caused you to feel resent, regret, anger, powerlessness, or just plain exhaustion. Let me know how it's impacted your life. Who knows, maybe your story will inspire my writing and grace the pages in some shape or form in this handy-dandy little guide. Also, if you enjoy the Authentically Raw content, please support the show by following and leaving a review on Apple Podcasts. Simply scroll down through the episodes and you will see where to do so. Want to learn more about life coaching? Head over to my website, jamieberris.com, and check it out. You can also follow me on social media at Jamie Berris for lots of inspiration and empowerment. One last thing, I'm rooting for you. Be real, be raw, be authentic.